Switch off the music, please. God, turn the radio off. Turn my dreams into the dust. Did you know that you were gone when you took away my love? It's not that easy saying goodbye. I wanna lay with you, pretend you're fine. I can't breathe. Oh, I can't breathe. Now this was the first song, but I've got one more for you. I try to forget you, and every time now I find myself incapable to do so. I close my eyes and then I realize that I'm lying to myself and I couldn't let you go. Here I stand, requesting you one last time. You are gone. I'm trying to live what I can, I'm trying to live whatever I can. Fade away, baby, fade away. Please don't trouble me anymore with those memories. I try to forget you and every time. Well, you must have thought that an armed forces officer is coming and speaking to you and I'll give some motivational speech. Well, I can do that, but not today. I sang 2 songs for you. There's a twist. One of that songs is written and composed by me. One of the songs is written and composed completely by an AI, though I performed it. And I'm gonna come to you for you to tell me which one is which. Right? So let's have a show of hands for all those who think that the first song is written by AI. Okay, we have some. Let's have a show of hands for those who think that the second song is written and composed by AI. Okay. And of course, there's the third group. Let's have a show of hands for all those who could not decide which one is which. Okay, interesting. Okay, so few of you could not decide. A lot of you could decide, but I hate to break it to you. Most of you are wrong. It's the first song that's completely written and composed by AI. It took me around 6 minutes and a couple of smart prompts to make that song. That's the power of AI that we have today, right? In art or in any other field like tech or medicine. Theme today is Aina, right? So I'm gonna give you some homework, but don't be worried. All those who are already artists, you're gonna feel excited because by end of my talk, you're gonna think, oh, how can I leverage AI to refine my process further? How can I become a better artist? How can I create more authentic pieces of work? And how can I leverage AI doing that? All those who are not artists yet, and I'm adding that word consciously, you guys are gonna feel, oh, how can I start my journey as an artist and how can I use AI to do that? And of course, all of us are audiences, right? And audience is a really, really important part of art making process because it's a really collaborative process. So I'm gonna invite you to reflect on what kind of audience you want to be. Are you a well-informed audience? What kind of art do we consume today? Will you push artists and AI alike, both of us, to produce better and better art? Right? That's something to think about. But before we go to artificial intelligence in art, I want to take some time to really think and talk through about where does art come from? Because the art that we see is just tip of the iceberg. And what lies beneath the surface, a lot of hard work, sleepless nights, a lot of fights, debates with my friends, a lot of songs that got written but never got produced. That's where the real magic happens, and that's where humans add a lot of value, is what I feel. So let's go and spend some time on understanding where is the creativity coming from. That's what I call as the creative process. And each one of you has a unique creative process. What works for me is I have to live life in HD, high definition, and I have to be empathetic. I have to absorb everything that's happening. I have to observe everything that's happening. I have to feel and really know what I'm feeling. And then what happens is, over the year, all these memories that we form, they kind of start grouping together for me. They start making something called as something that I call as memory lanes or storylines. And these storylines keep marinating. And even I don't know what storylines are running in my head at any particular time. It might be 10, it might be 100. I don't even know that there are some storylines forming because most of that is happening in my unconscious mind. And when someone asks me to write a song, or if some inspiration strikes, right? If ma'am here asks me to write, hey Rishi, write a song about a cat, then all these storylines come to front. I remember the cat that I had in childhood, a ginger, very notorious one. She used to always steal my pencils and I used to get annoyed with her. I remember the Persian cat that one of my friends has. She has two different eyes, the cat, two different colors. Yeah. And I was really surprised when I first saw her. I remember how much I laughed with my sister when we watched Cats and Dogs movie, right? So all of these experiences and all of the emotions that are attached with these memories come to the front. And then I may write a song in 5 minutes, 10 minutes, or 5 days, right? But for that, the storyline has to be matured in my mind. And if there is a new topic, a new inspiration comes, then I have to talk with people, I have to do my research, I have to go through the process, I have to understand what people have felt and what I feel about it, right? And that is what I call as unique lived experiences. And each one of us has a unique lived experience. None of us have lived the same life. And that is what adds value. That's what I feel creates the magic. Yeah. That's what I feel creates the magic. So, can AI or can an algorithm mimic this process that we humans go through? Can an artificial intelligence LLM that is trained on thousands of cat songs online produce the same kind of cat song that a human will produce? Because AI, as we know today, it's trained on data sets, it's trained by humans, right? And like Sigmund Freud said, there's conscious mind to which we have access, right? There's unconscious mind to which we do not have access. And that's where a lot of these memories are stored. And then there is subconscious mind, which kind of becomes a portal between these two minds. And what I personally have experienced, or my creative process, is a lot of creative process happens in the unconscious and subconscious area, right? And we humans, we are still trying to understand how that part works. And of course, then we'll have to train those algorithms on how that part works once we understand. And then maybe hope that, okay, the AI can also do what we are doing today. But I'll give you another example. I met a girl, a 14-year-old girl. I think one of the most creative girls I met last year. And she showed me a song, and that song was beautiful. It was well written, it was well sung, it really touched me. But the girl was completely mute, and she was mute from birth. AI was what became her voice. She was able to produce that song completely on an AI platform with some good original thought, emotion, which all of us have, and with some smart prompts, and of course with paid subscription. But that's the power that AI is already bringing to us. So we have to really think about what is our creative process and how we are maturing it. Not only her, for artists like me, AI automates a lot of mechanical tasks that artists have to go through day in, day out, right? This is how typically a DAW, digital audio workstation, looks for an artist, for a musician. It looks simple, right? Well, it takes at least a couple of years to learn how to find your way around it. There's thousands and thousands of plugins. I've sat with my team searching for that specific violin sound I need or that specific drum pattern I want in that song to get that emotion out. And it takes hours and hours of time. Now there are AI plugins coming in, which is really simplifying my life. What used to take 4 or 5 hours to clean up a sound signal or noise signal from the sound that we have, it's done in 5-6 minutes now. Just to input the audio, AI plugin gives me the output audio. I used to sit for hours and scan through music libraries to find the right sound. Now there are solutions, AI enabled, where I can just input what I want in plain text, spoken language, and it gives me 5 sounds, and it actually gives me 70% match of what I want, right? It also helps me come out of artist's block. Sometimes, someone just comes and says, hey Rishi, we need song tomorrow. And sometimes I'm just blank. I can spin up something on AI. It gives me a basic beat to start with. And then I'll write something. Maybe that will not become the final output, right? That will become my first scratch or my second scratch. But it gets me started. It pulls me out of the artist block that we sometimes face, right? So there's a lot of benefits, a lot of automation that AI is bringing. And it is evolving our process as humans to dedicate more time to really what matters, to the core of the creative process, that the magic that I mentioned that we add. It also saves me a lot of money, which the first row will really understand. So where I was producing 1 album a year, I can actually produce 3 albums in a year now, right? And that's really important. I can think now about my core creative process and not think about all the mechanical tasks, all the labor that I had to go through in that process of making that art happen, right? So will AI be able to produce a masterpiece? Yes, it will. Will humans lose their relevance? Absolutely not. Because there is audience for both. The pie itself is expanding. And there's a lot of masses that just want to sway to a nice tune, they want to hear something and they're not very bothered about what exactly is the meaning of those words. And there are niche audiences or classes that are really thinking about what they feel, what is written, what is the emotion, what is at the core of this of this art, what is the artist really trying to say. So there is space for both, and that's why I raised this question of why do we always look at it as competition? Can it be coexistence? And going one step beyond, can it be co-creation, right? So in that process, AI becomes a really powerful tool for all of you. For those of you who have not started their journey as an artist, can start. And artists like me, or artists in general who are well trained or who are master of their craft, they are going to maintain their edge, right? Because artists have tools to create original work at their disposal. They also have really refined internal creative processes. So they know how to translate the emotions from the emotions of what is felt to the output. And AI actually helps me dedicate a lot of my mental bandwidth towards that process of creation, right? So to end, what I'm going to say is, a gun in the hands of a trained soldier is much more potent than in the hands of a novice. Same goes for your brush, same goes for your guitar, same goes for your vocal cord, same goes for AI. Thank you.